So, there's nothing like seeing someone who you know has come through something declare, that's not going to get me down. That is not going to stop me. So I guess the first thing to ask today is, what are you letting stop you? What are you still giving power to that could possibly stop you? In the beginning of the song, the first thing that Amy sings is, I'm going to be someone. I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be better made. I'm going to give everything just to bring me back again. And therein lies the rub, to bring me back again. Now I know in Amy's story, it's, because I lived that story, it's, I'm going to bring myself back to what I was before this freaking diagnosis, right? I'm going to bring myself back to, when I had my journey, I got to 130 pounds, and I was like, I am getting back to 132. I was like, I am going to get back to 165 no matter what. I'm going to bring me back again. But you know what? As I was going through this, and last night, I went to bed listening to you. And I watched your video, and then, of course, I got caught up watching every Amy Armstrong song that's on the internet, so I was up very late as well, just listening to you sing. And then I closed my concert of Amy Armstrong last night by listening to My Declaration one more time. And all of a sudden, in my head, I was like, oh my God. I had already planned on what I was going to say, and it just went right out the window. I was like, no. This is what it is. So I'm going to do everything just to bring me back again. And I'm like, back again? I've never been here. That's the problem. We keep thinking we want to reclaim the past. We want to be something. I'm 67 years old. Would I love to be my 25-year-old again? No. I was not great back then. I mean, I was great, but I didn't know who I was, clearly. I didn't know who I was. So it's not about bringing me back again. In fact, at this point in my life, I'm starting to understand the very thing I want to be, I already am. I just don't know it. And that is true for every single one of us. I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be better made. I'm going to do everything to bring me back again. No, I'm not going to be stronger. I'm going to remember that I'm strong. I'm going to remember who I am. One of our vision statements. I'm going to remember that nothing that happens in this lifetime can change who I am. And it can't change you. And it can't change you or any of us, except if we let it. And then she sings, I'm going to live each day and each night. And she says, I'm taking it all. I'm taking it all. But the thing is, you have to decide that. You have to decide who you are. Because whatever you decide is who you get to be. You can be less than. You can be somewhat successful. You can be obnoxiously successful. You can be lovingly successful. You can be whatever you decide to be. There is nothing out here that, well, no, a lot of things out here tell you who you are. But there's nothing out here that can make you who you are, because who you are is a given. So I'm taking it all. I had been accused at times in my life of having a big ego. Really? No, and the funny thing is, I do have a big ego, and it's not a bad thing, because we have to start really knowing who we are. Now, if I'm going to say, I'm better than you, that's not ego, that's low self-esteem, trying to prove something. But when I say, I am God, and you, Amy, are God, I'm getting it. I'm starting to get it. Who I am, who you are, who we all are. So ego, I can be accused of that, and I will be the first one to say, yes, I do. I have a very healthy, big ego. And then there are moments when I don't. And I teach these classes all week, and in the advanced class this week, we talked about the ego. And I was very clear. We have to stop tearing down ego as there's something wrong with it. We have to stand in our greatness and know who we are. And that means when she says, I'm taking it all, you stop being piecemeal with your greatness. I'm great at this, but I'm terrible at this. How many here have heard themselves sometime this week telling themselves they were terrible at something or not good at something? Technical things. Who still doesn't know how to use their phone? Yeah, okay? So, Amy apparently doesn't know how to use her phone. So, geography. That was my husband. You know what? Here's the thing about geography. I'm not bad at geography. I just trust that when I get lost, it's because the universe has something to show me. And I always get where I am. I always get where I'm going because Google Maps helps me. So, right? Yes. So, piecemeal. I really need to ask you, are you living your life piecemeal? Are you only allowing yourself to be good at certain things? Are you really seeing yourself as someone who is a mixture of the good, the bad, the ugly, and the pretty? Because you're not. You're all of it. You're all of it. So when this song says, I'm taking it all, it means, you know what? I'm really going to get this. I am going to bring me back again to the understanding of who I am and that it's all mine to choose from. And Raymond Charles Barker says this. William? That's the title of my talk. The title of my talk is Taking It All. Got it? Okay. Raymond Charles Barker says this. Apparently, he doesn't want to tell us what he says. That's not the right one. It's the one before it. It's going well. Go back. Go back one. Someone just said, oh my God, you're derailing this amazing energy. This is why you got to run the slides beforehand to make sure they're all there. Okay, forget William. Let's do this. I'm going to read you it. You're going to have to think about it. Here's what he said. Raymond Charles Barker said, there's what he said. The principle of life is that life responds by corresponding. Your life becomes the thing you have decided it shall be. Pretty simple, isn't it? Your life becomes the thing that you decide it shall be. So I have a bunch of questions for you this morning, and the first one is this. What have you decided about your life? Many of us buy into the lives we're living because guess what? We created them. So we buy into them. We created it. This is what it is. It's not. This is what you're deciding it's going to be. Every minute, you get to decide again. Does this work? Does it not work? So what have you decided your life shall be right now? And then my second question is, what are you waiting on to decide differently? If you look at your life and you see any aspect of it that you would like to change, my question is, what are you waiting for to change it? Are you waiting on more money? You're waiting on a bigger career? You're waiting on finding your soulmate, finding the perfect person to share your life with? Is there anything that you are waiting on in order to decide? Because a lot of people don't make the decision until they're certain how the decision's going to come out. Anybody here likes to hedge their bets? I'll make that decision when I know how it's going to end up. I just sounded like John Mulaney. Anyway, what are you willing, and this is a big question, what are you willing to let go of? Because here's the thing. If you're going to decide what your life is going to be, you have to also decide what your life is going to not be. You have to be willing to look at your life and say, this is no longer a part of my life. Obviously, you made that decision with alcohol. No longer a part of my life, right? You made that decision with meat. And this is a woman whose vision statement for living was everything's better with bacon. Am I right? This woman would order 5 orders of bacon just for breakfast. Yes, just bacon. I mean, she would do things with bacon. We'd go out to dinner and she'd be getting something and she'd go, could you put bacon on that? I'm like, everything's better with bacon. But you made a decision. That didn't work anymore. You just like the smell of it now.
I smell a lot of it now.
Yes. So what is it you need to give up, let go of? What decision do you have to make in order to make the decision to really let more in? You got to let some stuff out. And I would like to say, for all of us, myself included, every single one of us knows what that is. You cannot sit here today and pretend you don't know what you have to let go of. You can't, because you do know. You can confuse yourself. You can keep pretending you don't know, but you do know. And you know why I know you know? Because I do know that you are the divine and that there is an intuitive flow of knowing that moves through you at all times. And if you just got quiet enough to listen to it, it would tell you, you're done with this. Can I have this is the next thing Raymond Charles Barker said. He said, the decision to let go of that which has completed its course in your experience is even more important than the decision to welcome new ideas. You cannot walk forward by looking backward. You intuitively know what should depart from your life. And here's my favorite part of this is this. The decision to let go of that which has completed its course. You don't need to degrade, you need to make it bad. You don't need to tackle it and fight with it and say, you gotta get rid of it. Just okay, whatever reason this is still here, I'm ready to be done with it. That's it. So I love that idea. It's completed its course. So there's my question to you. What's completed its course in your life? It's the beginning of 2022. Our theme is action. What are you ready to let go of? That is not who you are. And that's really what I mean. What aspect of you are you ready to look at and say, this doesn't fit with who I know myself to be. I'm not accepting this anymore. I'm ready to take it all. And that means let go of whatever doesn't work for me. And so the next part of this song that so gets me is, I can't keep hiding. I can't keep hiding. I can't keep running away. I remember when I was an actor, young actor in New York, and I was trying so desperately to fit in to a concept of what a leading man was. And I was doing very well. I was getting great roles. But there came a moment where I just had to say, I'm really not willing. I'm not letting out who I am. Talk about, that's why they call it coming out. That part of you that needs to say, this is who I am. And when I finally was able to say, no, I am, and I don't even say gay so much as I would say bisexual at that time. But now, since I'm married 33 years to Kevin, I think the jury has decided that I fall on the side of gay. Yes. So, but that freed me up. It totally gave me the willingness. And it's funny, Elizabeth is always saying to me, she always thinks I'm a little gayish. As I did that, I guess I am. And I'm like, I'm actually very masculine. And she's like, yeah. And I realized that part of that, and I don't need anybody weighing in on this, because I'm very comfortable with my masculinity. And I will be at the women's group next week. I realize that even when someone says, I love how free you are with your gay self, and there's a part of me that still has that button that's like, no, I'm butch. And see, and once they stop laughing, but the funny part was, I was constantly cast in really masculine butch roles. That's what I was cast in. I mean, Riff in West Side Story is butch. Jesus is butch. Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar, he went through a lot. He was not a sissy. He was really, really, especially when I played him. So my question is, are you free enough to be who you are? Are you ready to take it all? Are you ready to really stand and declare, make a declaration of you knowing who you are? I had a meeting with David Flint this week, and he gave me a quote, brought up a quote that I instantly wrote down because I knew I was going to work it into this talk. And it's by Alan Watts. The next slide, please. And it's this: Jesus Christ knew he was God. So wake up and find out eventually who you really are. He says, in our culture, of course, they'll say you're crazy and you're blasphemous, and they'll either put you in jail or in a nut house, which is pretty much the same thing. However, if you wake up in India and tell your friends and relations, my goodness, I've just discovered that I'm God, they'll laugh and say, oh, congratulations, at last you found out. So what I'd like to say is, congratulations, at last you found out. And by saying I am God, and I don't advise going to Starbucks and asking for that on your cup. Okay, who's this for? God. Only because it's a little nerve-wracking for some people. But you have to start thinking about it. Just taking smaller steps. Many people are taking small steps in this direction because we've thought of God as that benevolent, at least I did, being that lived somewhere else with the gray hair and the ability to change my life. And sometimes I depended on God to change my life, and I did nothing to change it because God's way more powerful than me. But now I understand it's my job. I'm going to take it all. I'm going to be greater than I've ever been. I'm going to know who I am, but I'm also going to know that's who every single person in this room is. Every one of us, which means we start to come together more as a whole. So, as I was putting this talk together, I was like, I haven't been here that long. And the I am God thing can be very divisive. It can turn people away. And I know that because I lost members of our own center back in Los Angeles in the beginning. And my own board of directors at first said, could you soften the I am God thing? Like maybe I am love? I was like, well, I am love kind of doesn't mean it. Even though we say love is a synonym for God, kind of doesn't mean the same thing. It doesn't have the same impact. And it doesn't help us really start knowing who we are. And I thought about today's talk, and I thought about when David gave me that quote, and I had it in and out of the talk. And the fact that it was in and out of the talk made me know that it had to go in the talk. Because it's time. If Amy's going to stand up here and talk about beating ovarian cancer and then sing a declaration, I'm going to bring it all back. I'm going to bring myself back again. And if I wake up in the middle of the night saying, there's nothing to bring back, it's always been here, I just have to get all the other crap out of the way and let it be what it is, then it's time to start that conversation. And I get that it's just the first step towards it. This week, we have honored the transition of one of the world's greatest teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, and certainly one of my greatest teachers. We did a whole book club on the miracle of mindfulness back in the 90s. So I have a quote of his that I want you to look at here. He says, every thought you produce, anything you say, any action you do, it bears your signature. What are you willing today to sign your signature to? What are you willing to know so profoundly that you will sign your name to it and say, yes, I, Dale Olansky, know that I am God, and I will now live with the responsibility of being that. Everywhere, which means I will love only. I will forgive everything, and I will remember who I am at all times. Do you know what this world would be like if everybody lived that way? I would remember who I am at all times, all of us. War would be gone. We'd just be trying to help one another at all times. And I know that could sound like la la land, like, yeah, when's that going to happen? As soon as it happens in your mind, that's when it's going to happen. And the next quote by Thich Nhat Hanh. This I loved when I read this week. There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. Just think about that for a second. People are trying so hard to be happy in the world, and they think money does it. If I have more money, I'll be happy. If I find the right person, I'll be happy. If I whatever, I'll be happy. And yet, what Thich Nhat Hanh is saying is, no, I am happy. I am the energy of happiness. I am that free-flowing energy of love and happiness and joy. I take that everywhere, and happiness shows up because it's the absolute demonstration of what I put out. Very different concept. This will make me happy. No, you are happy. What are you going to do with it? So today is a great day to make your declaration. Do you know what a declaration is? It is a confident announcement. A confident announcement. So Amy just gave us, in one of the most beautiful performances, a confident announcement that she's ready to have it all, to take it all, to be it all. Success, money, relationship, creative expression, everything there is to this great life that we live. She's ready to take it all. Are you? It's up for you to decide what you are confidently ready to announce. And I would like to say, we're ready to announce it all. And you know why? Because there's something inside of you. There really is something inside of you that already knows this. I am not saying anything new. I speak 52 Sundays a week. I say the same thing every week. I was in West Side Story. Oh, I couldn't resist. But I do. I say the same thing. I'm aware of how much I say that too. I say the same thing every week in different ways. Because I know, and you know. And every time you react to something that I say, you're really reacting to something that you know. Think about that. It's not what I'm saying. It's what you're knowing. And when I trip on something inside of you that already knows how great you are, you're like, yes, because you know it. So today, I'd like to say today is your first step. Today is a gift for each one of us to take that first step to announcing confidently who we know ourselves to be. And since we celebrated Martin Luther King this week, my last quote is by Mr. King, Dr. King. He says, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. So are you ready? Are you ready? Just take the first step. You don't have to see all of God in you. See a part of it. Start there and then grow from it. If I can be this great here, I'm great everywhere. And then maybe over here and maybe over here. Confidently announce who you are. And you know what else? Don't let the world or anybody, I don't care how close they are to you, tell you anything different than what you know. Now, I don't mean you should go around screaming at people and telling them who you are, because if you are, then you don't know it, because we're love only. So your job is to just take that first step. You don't know what's next, but I'll tell you this, what's next is good, because that's this quantum field of pure energy. It's all good. It's all alive. It's constantly expanding, constantly growing, constantly taking you and me to our next greatest, whatever that will be. So a little bit of faith. Just take that step. Confidently announce, I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be better made. I'm going to do everything it takes to not just bring me back again, but to remember who I am. And that's taking it all. Namaste. Thank you.